What's happening, everyone? Welcome to another episode of our Impreza Build. I know we keep kind of building up to the engine assembly episode, and this probably won't be it. As you can see, our short block is still hanging out here. The heads are still off the machine shop. They're a little bit behind, so trying to get our stuff done, but we are still waiting on our head gaskets. We got Cometic EJ22T gaskets that are special order, which means they're gonna take a little bit longer than anticipated, but that's okay. We'll get to the engine. We have so much stuff to do and not a whole lot of time to do it. So we're kind of stationed up right now. Corey's gonna be working on all the brake stuff. Clinton over here is taking some of the interior stuff out that's just been collecting dust in here, so he can get started on doing some interior panels. He's making templates in order to cut it out, make door panels and the rear seat delete panel to make it all look good. Now while we're in there, we're also gonna be pulling the dash out. It's pretty much disconnected and flocking that. And then I'm gonna be working away on finalizing all of the engine stuff that I've showed you, valve covers and all the piping, getting it all clean. And then we'll wrap this episode up nicely, get some progress done, leading up to that engine assembly episode that's gonna be a standalone thing. It's gonna be really exciting. So enjoy this one, stay tuned for the next one. Despite all the rust in the exterior of the car, everything here looks pretty nice. Frame rails are obviously good. This turbo manifold is nice and fresh. I deleted the battery box stuff. That was the most of the rust. So it's gonna be looking good with that engine in. I've also thrown in a couple of GrimmSpeed things. Now we cater to more of the newer chassis, the GC stuff. There isn't a whole lot that fits, but there are still parts that we make, like the master cylinder brace here. Basically a part that puts pressure on the master cylinder. That way when you're braking, the firewall isn't moving and everything kind of contorting. Really nice mod for drivability. I'm gonna be putting in a GrimmSpeed pitch stop mount. I was lucky enough to find kind of a scratch and dent GrimmSpeed pitch stop, but I do have to go back to assembly and get some bushings pressed in. You can see it's just the bare aluminum now. If you guys haven't seen, this is our assembly department. Crew working hard to put together all the products that we eventually end up sending to you. Good example is GrimmSpeed EJ headers right there. We've got version 2 downpipes ready to get packaged up, and looks like some mufflers. These type of things take a while to package, to get all the hardware, all the accessories and things in there. So a big job for them to do, but this should be nice and easy. Tony's done it about 1,000 times. Can we get this done? Absolutely. All right, we're on a time crunch, so we got to do it quick.
What do you want, race or non-race?
That's right. We have two versions of the pitch stop. We have the red and the black. Typically, standard is the black body with red bushings. Those are an 80A durometer, and then the race is the red body with black bushings, which are 95A durometer. In other words, they're harder. So what I'm going to do is get a little custom. I'm going to do a black body with the black bushings. So it's kind of like a limited edition custom race version for me and for a race car. It was just that easy with the proper equipment. Tony's able to do it in like 20 seconds. Usually they do builds of how many of these?
About 100.
About 100, so it takes a couple of hours to do the ones that we eventually send out to you guys. But I got my one custom one, and it is ready to go on the Impreza. Thank you.
Yep.
No, I was gonna fist, fist bump you.
So I'm about to get started on the brakes, and even though this is a budget build, we are not skimping on the safety aspects of the car here. We are doing new rotors, definitely, and along with the new rotors, we're also doing new calipers. So I believe Art's gonna paint these, but we needed new rear calipers anyway because, as you remember, the car was drum in the back, so we needed new calipers for the back. Figured we may as well do new ones in the front also because they were looking kind of crusty. Panning over here, we have the power stop brake pads, front and rear. We're doing Faction Fab lug nuts. We even sprung for some StopTech stainless lines. And then we are going to use some wheel spacers to get that rally fitment just right. So as you can see, it is a whole new brake and wheel system here. That's definitely going to be better than what was on there. So I'm going to get these all cleaned up, get some brake cleaner on these because they ship covered in oil. And I will pass those over to Art to paint. I got the calipers all taped up for Art. So he's going to go ahead and give those a fresh coat of paint tonight, and then we'll throw them on tomorrow. But until then, I'm too excited. I'm going to throw some of these fresh new parts on this car while we have the time, and we'll get the calipers on tomorrow. So we're going to see how these nice new rotors look on this beautiful, pristine car.
I think we made more progress in the last 2 hours than we have in the last week. We've been in our little pods. Corey showed you himself doing the brakes. Now it's up to me to get them painted tonight. Clinton's been doing a really good job of the patch panels for the interior here. Doing the side, the back is looking really good. Corey is now moving on to the dash. Let me help you.
Corey is stuck.
Corey's stuck, but now he's unstuck, so he's gonna be flocking that, at least taking everything apart tonight, probably flocking tomorrow. And then Owen is finishing up some of the panels. You can see right there, and he's working on patch panel so that we can get rid of the rusty parts. Moving right along, myself, I don't really know what I'm doing. Miscellaneous tasks. We have to take care of some of the mounting for the scoop, the mirrors, some interior things that I'm working on, just drilling holes and making mounts where needed. And then eventually we're gonna get to a point where we're starting to do a little body work. You can see the hood has a lot of dents and things, so while we've got these pieces off, we're gonna be cleaning it, doing some Bondo, doing some icing over the top, sanding, some fiberglass work, and we're gonna be moving right along. So let's keep this momentum going. One of the things we're eventually gonna have to tackle is the exhaust for this car, and that's where our welding supervisor, Avi, steps in. He's been doing some small projects on his car already, but this will be one of the bigger ones. So what we're gonna do is start with the muffler and kind of work our way to the front of the car. Obviously there's no engine in there right now, so we don't know where the downpipe and the catback portion is gonna sit, but we can get started on the muffler section. One thing that we've been playing around with is kind of a turn down design for the tips. So what Avi did is cut one of these scrap 3-inch stainless steel pieces that we have at an angle. He's gonna cut a bunch more of these, tack them together, and we're gonna see how 2 turn down tips look on this. Best of all, we're using all scrap materials. So this was a scratch and dent muffler that we just grabbed out of our scrap bin, and all of this stainless is just extra stainless we have from our exhaust work. So we're gonna be able to put this together basically for free. It's gonna be awesome. So Avi, let's show him what we can do.
Let's do it.
Avi's been playing around with our bandsaw all morning trying to get these pie cuts consistent, and he's developed a system that is really cool. Basically, he measured out the center on both sides of the pipe all the way through and then marked it on the bandsaw itself. So now when he pulls this through and does the pie cuts, it can be consistent every time. That's gonna be the key, because if we're doing 5, 6, or 7 pieces and doing that turn down, they all have to be the same size, especially between the 2 tips. So at the end of it, we want it looking good, and this is the system that's gonna get us there. Well, there you have it. The 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces that Avi cut out, and then also deburred, cleaned them up a little bit. So now he's gonna tack them into place, and hopefully we'll have something that looks like a turn down exhaust tip. This is something you don't see every day, a GrimmSpeed muffler right there with these little turn downs. Pretty cool. Don't even ask me, we're not gonna start making these. This is a special thing for me and the Impreza build. Avi is gonna be hopping on these and starting to weld throughout the day. Basically, he told me he doesn't wanna overheat them, so he's gotta do smaller increments. We're gonna go get started working on the Impreza. I gotta change and then get dirty over there for a couple of hours. We'll check back here at the end of the day and maybe mock it up on the car even.
Yeah, I think that's
awesome. All right, cool.
Good.
Well, I just came out here and this was laying on the ground for us. Looks like Avi finished up the welds and just tacked it onto the muffler. It looks awesome, exactly what I was envisioning. And best of all, this whole setup was free besides Avi's weld time. Here's what it's gonna look like. Now I need to cut some things here to make it fit properly, but more or less we're gonna be right there with the muffler, kind of giving that old school rally look and being subtle at the same time.
I'm just getting started on the dash project here. We're gonna flock this nasty tan dash black. I've scuffed it for the sealer. So we'll do the sealer and then the adhesive and then the flocking fibers. So this is gonna be the last time that you'll see this dash in the nasty tan color. I'm gonna seal it tonight and then tomorrow I'm gonna take you along for the actual flocking journey. So it's the next day. I've let the dash seal for overnight. So it's basically all you want to do is make sure that the surface of the dash is not going to absorb the adhesive for the flock. So I'm going to start flocking the dash. I've done this once, it was a long time ago, but I did learn a lot of things from that. So fingers crossed it goes well. I'm going to throw you on a time lapse so you can watch me. It always seems like the dash comes out easier than it goes back in. I would say that's true in this case. I've been working on this thing for a few hours, but finally, in all of its budget glory, our flocked dash is installed. Now that this is in, we might have to clean up some of these old tabs. I don't know that we're gonna keep the glove box, but we will probably end up doing a switch plate or some panel here just to kind of tidy up some of that. But for the most part, we need the seats, the bar, and we're working on these panels here as well to kind of clean this interior up, and we'll be on our way.